what's up guys? So, I'm very excited to talk about one of my most anticipated films of this year, Studio Ghibli's first animated feature film in about 6 years, Earwig and the Witch. As most of you know, I am a huge fan of Japanese animation, anime. I have a pretty substantial collection, at least for most people's standards these days. I have about almost 100 anime films that I collect that are right behind me over here. And Studio Ghibli is definitely not only the inspiration behind my collection to begin with, but were among the first anime films that I ever watched. Now I will say I am a little biased toward hand-drawn animation. I think that's pretty much all I collect. You know, there is some of the digital stuff nowadays for sure, but it still has that hand-drawn look. So this is where Earwig and the Witch comes into play, which, as most of you know by now, is not a hand-drawn animated film in any way, shape, or form. It is, of course, Ghibli's first venture into 3D CG animation style, which I will say, overall, I didn't mind so much. I know a lot of people have very strong feelings about this, especially if this was pretty much news to you, if you hadn't known that this film was coming out. But I've known for quite a while, and I've also known that Hayao Miyazaki is working on another hand-drawn animated film called How Do You Live? So I know that Ghibli is not going away from this style. A lot of people are concerned that this is kind of the end of the road for that style that everyone knows and loves them for, but that's simply not the case. I'm sure they are considering more 3D CGI, but I really don't think the hand-drawn is ever going to go away. That could be the optimist in me, but you just don't, you know, it's such a big deal in Japan especially. I don't think it's happening. But we'll go back to that a little bit later. Let's talk about this film. So it just released in theaters about 2 days ago and is now officially on HBO Max for those of us who are subscribers as of today. And this film is about a young orphan girl named Earwig, or Erica Wig as her full name, and she dreams of never being adopted. She would love to just live in her orphanage with her friend Custard and all these other folks that she likes. However, one day this witch named Bella Yaga comes around with her partner, the Mandrake, who decide to adopt Earwig because they probably remind her so much of themselves. So the story really focuses on Earwig's life living with them, all the issues she's having, and her desire to become a witch like Bella Yaga, and pretty much try to learn how to use magic at every given opportunity. Now, this film is directed by Goro Miyazaki, of course, Hayao Miyazaki's son, who has done various films in the past for Studio Ghibli. He started with Tales from Earthsea, and later went on to do From Up on Poppy Hill, and he even did a series, Rania the Robber's Daughter. So this is his latest feature. It's also based off the Diana Wynne Jones novel, just like the film Howl's Moving Castle was based off, which of course Ghibli also adapted into a feature film. So I'm sure a lot of you really just want to know is this film worth seeing? There's been a lot of mixed reviews. I'm glad to see that there is a good amount of people who are enjoying this film too, but I can tell that some of the real hardcore Ghibli fans out there just, you know, are not happy with the animation style, and that could be tilting their view of the film as a whole. Now, I will say I did enjoy this film quite a bit. It is one of the lighter and shortest Ghibli films that there is. Light in terms of just plot elements and overall, I guess, weight to the story. There's not a big emotional pull. There's not a big epicness like we're used to from some of those films. It just feels like a very fun, delightful story with some humor and interesting characters. So let's talk about some of them. Earwig is definitely the highlight here. I really actually love her character design. I really like the pointedness of her hair, and she has a lot of great facial expressions throughout the movie that we see different elements of her face where she's smiling and she has these big wide pupils, but then there's periods where she's frowning or making scary or ugly faces and her pupils get really small. So I like how they kind of interwove that in different moments in the film. The other characters, Bella Yaga and Mandrake, are a little one note in a sense. Bella Yaga, she's just kind of this, I guess, hard-ass foster mother, if you can even call her that, who is just trying to pretty much work Earwig to the bone as her assistant. And Mandrake is just this guy who, if you get him really upset, he will, well, he might do something bad to you. We'll see. But I did like the mystery behind his character and the build-up there. I think the relationships between characters in this film were done well. I also want to give a shout out to the cat. Another black cat, as we can see a lot of comparisons to, say, Kiki's Delivery Service. I believe the cat's name is Thomas. I'm a little biased, though. I have my own black cat. I'm born on Halloween. I will always love black cats, so maybe that's just me. But nonetheless, I think the characters were done well. I think another strong aspect to the film was the music. Obviously, music does play a big role in this film. If you've seen the poster, there's a hint at some kind of, there's this band. You find out the band is named Earwig. And two of the members were the Mandrake and Baba Yaga. But then there's this mysterious character we're trying to figure out who she is the entire film. So those are really the two main plot elements, and I think this film, it has a lot of goodness to it, and there are some flaws which I'll get into. One, I think it is a little too short. Once it decides where it's going, it kind of leaves you hanging in the sense that there is definitely more story that could be told. There's some things that are kind of left unanswered that they do, I want to say, intentionally. In a way, it almost feels like they wouldn't mind setting it up for a possible sequel, which I wouldn't be against, but knowing Ghibli, I love the fact that there are no direct sequels in their catalog. You could argue that The Cat Returns is technically a sequel to The Whisper of the Heart, but I think many people will agree that that is really a spin-off because there's not a big connection there. But it sort of feels like as soon as you find out a lot of the real interesting stuff near the end, it all of a sudden just, well, ends. It's a little on the abrupt side, which isn't a big deal, but I just would have liked to see a little bit more. As I mentioned, it's pretty short. It's only an hour and 22 minutes. Oh, one thing I definitely should mention is I watched this film in Japanese with the English subtitles, which I actually don't generally prefer for anime films. I'm actually a big English dub fan if the voice acting is done well, simply because I like to just look at the animation. I'm a big fan of just beautiful animated backgrounds and looking at everything as much as possible without having to divert my eyes to subtext. But I think that this film has benefits to seeing it in both. I was hesitant to see the English dub first only because I had just seen Lupin the Third the First, another 3D CG animated film, and I started watching that film with the dub, and I felt like the actual animated features, especially the mouth movements and expressions, did not match the dubbing, and it got really distracting for me. When I switched it to the sub about halfway through, I really noticed a difference in how much I was enjoying the film. And it had nothing to do with the voice acting. It was just the distraction of seeing what seemed like, an actual dubbed over person's voice. You don't notice this too often with the hand-drawn style because of the mouth flaps, and the expression on the faces isn't as, expressive as say the 3G style can do. You don't often see this in hand-drawn animation because of the mouth flaps being a lot more basic in terms of their expressions. So I'm definitely curious to see the English dub now that I've watched it at least once in Japanese. I'm wondering what you guys think of that version, and I would love to hear your thoughts about that. But nonetheless, I thought this was quite an entertaining film, and I just love the fact that Studio Ghibli film is trying different things. I think the style itself is different, but it stands out. It doesn't look like every other 3D CG film. It still has that distinct Ghibli quality to it, and you definitely notice it in certain aspects, particularly their backgrounds that they usually have. Do I want them to continue in this way? Not necessarily. I would love to continue just seeing our classic hand-drawn Studio Ghibli style. But I commend them for experimenting, and you never know, maybe they really needed to push this because it takes a lot less time to make these type of films. And knowing Hayao Miyazaki is working on possibly his final film ever, which supposedly has 2 to 3 more years to go, they could have really just needed the money, who knows. But nonetheless, guys, I definitely think you guys should give it a chance, especially if you're on the fence. It's on HBO Max right now. I'm sure a lot of you either have it or are hoping to subscribe soon or have someone else that you could possibly watch it from. Of course, it'd be great if we could see the movie in theaters. I think that would greatly enhance the experience. I am very much looking forward to when it comes out on Blu-ray and DVD. There's going to be a standard G-Kids edition as well as a steelbook they're putting out, which I will definitely plan to buy as a hardcore Ghibli collector. So in the end, Earwig and the Witch is a delightful film that doesn't quite capture that Ghibli magic we're used to, but does just enough to get it off the ground and running. And that's why this film is a Dyligent pick. So guys, what did you think of Earwig and the Witch? Are you getting ready to watch it? Are you waiting to see it in theaters or when it comes out on Blu-ray, in case you don't have HBO Max? I'd love to hear your thoughts below, whether you saw it in the sub or the dub, what you would recommend. I know a lot of people have some strong feelings about this one, and I just say just give it a shot, see what you think. You know, as the old saying goes, don't knock it until you try it, right? So that's about it for me, guys. I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. As always, my name is Dylan, and if you love entertainment, subscribe to my channel while this video ends and send me a thumbs up before you go. Thanks for watching, and stay diligent.